In this tutorial video, I'm going to show you how you can create a background image for your page so that all the content will scroll on the top. So to do that, we have a fresh app here with the content scrolling as expected on top of the default background color here. So what we're going to do is add a container that will have the background. So we add the container and we add a background image. So I'm gonna upload a Creative Commons image. Then we'll need to make our container take up all the real estate on our screen, and before we do that, let's remove the default padding. So what I'm doing here is selecting the component default value from the dropdown, which unfortunately goes beyond the borders of the screen here, but you'll find it at the topmost selection of the list that opens up here. So now we have a container that will, once we set up correctly, take up all the space available. So then we need to select the page and set stretch to viewport height, so the page container will kind of take up all the available space. In coding terms, this sets flex 1 on the page layout. So here we then can make the container height. There's a few options, but one is that we can bind this to the screen viewport height formula. So this makes the container grow up, and let's, for example's sake, add a min value. So this makes the container grow to the current height of the viewport dynamically. We could also use the flex grow option here to make it take up all the space, but it's your preference. This is a bit more advanced. You need to understand how Flexbox works, preferably. So now that we have our page layout here and I save, we have this, and now it's scrolling the whole content as expected, and yeah, this needed to be, there we go, and it's actually viewport height, yeah. So now we have, yeah, this goes to the whole viewport, and then we actually have our content below here. So as I release my finger here, it snaps back into the default position. This is because the page layout itself is now set the viewport height when regularly it would grow with the content. So that's why we get this behavior. So now what we can do is we want to disable scroll here for the page layout. Go to style and disable scroll, and then add a scroll view here. So now a scroll view is a special component that lets you scroll things inside it. So again, we can bind its height to the same viewport height variable, and the preview value here is bugging out, so that's why I'm adding the minimum value so we can see what's going on. And now since the scroll view doesn't allow you to set the padding, we'll just add a padding container and add some nice default padding here. So now when I add this to the container, let's see, here we go, like this, and save, we have my content nicely scrolling with the background image staying in place. So to recap what we did, we added a container with a background image whose height is set to the system var dimension viewport height. So this is calculated by the runtime. So on a different device, like a shorter Android, less high Android, it would have a different value. And then inside it we have a scroll view with the height also set to the system variable, and then inside that is our content, which now is a container with padding and a title and paragraph. And on the page layout we set the disable scroll and stretch the viewport height options here. So yeah, that's how you can make full screen background images for your compose pages.